In this video, we have got a 109 kill game where I come top of my team for score with the SOR-556, or more commonly known as the SCAR, on Manhattan Conquest. So let's first look at the attachments which I'm using on this gun, which I'll pop up on screen now, and we'll then look at the pros and cons of the gun, how I am pretty much playing with it and using it, as well as how to obviously play and do what I'm doing here on the map Manhattan Bridge. The attachments here are simply the ones that we use in the game. Again, I would not recommend using these specific ones. This is not the best setup. It's simply what I used in this gameplay while I was leveling the gun up. So that's what's on screen there. Moving straight into the pros and cons of this weapon, and starting off with the cons. The first one is going to be the hip fire. Now the hip fire is really bad on this gun, and it feels like you're firing invisible bullets. So it might be best in a best attachment setup for this gun to use a laser. However, I don't think it's necessary because it's a gun which you want to be using at medium to long range because of its next con, which is going to be its slow rate of fire of only around 560 rounds per minute. So therefore, trying to be aggressive with this is not going to be ideal when in Battlefield 6 you're coming up against, a lot of the time, more than one squad of players. It's just not going to be viable to try and take out multiple enemies in one go. It's hardly viable to do that with even the fastest time to kill weapons in the game. Now, some of you watching this video right now might actually say that the slow rate of fire is considered a positive, because generally a slow rate of fire on a gun is going to mean a better accuracy, because it's obviously slower and therefore more manageable, less recoil, it's not kicking up as much. Of course, you can get hard-hitting, slow fire rate guns, which does have a lot of recoil, but generally, a slow rate of fire gun should be more manageable and to be more accurate with it. But the biggest con and issue with this gun is it's one of the guns which I find to be the most impacted by bloom. It's almost unusable at even close range in full auto. It's supposed to take 4 bullets to get a kill at the maximum damage which it has of 25. But it feels like I'm firing 10 rounds to try and get a kill. It feels like my bullets are pretty much going around the target or through the target and simply not doing any damage. Now, we're aware of the issues, with the netcode, with bloom, hit registration, whatever you want to call it, but this gun seems to be affected by it the most. Now, hopefully that will get fixed, but at the moment, that is the biggest con and issue with this gun. And as a result, it kind of forces you to pretty much tap fire with it or go into semi-auto mode to make sure you're actually hitting the target regularly. But anyways, that's enough of the cons. Let's talk about the pros. The first one you can see there is the reload time, which in a tactical reload is very fast, even with extended mags, which is increased from 30 up to 40 rounds. Secondly, in terms of the pros, if you do like iron sights or do want to save some points, the iron sight on this gun is very clean, and I can back that up by having 2 live streams which you can search up, where before this 100 kill game you're seeing right now, literally the day before, I had 2 99 kill games on the same day with this SCAR on Manhattan Bridge, both using the iron sight. So the iron sight is very clean, and again can save you some points. Additionally, with this gun's current build, you get a 1000 meters a second bullet velocity, so that's one of the fastest bullet velocities in the game, even higher than some snipers, which makes its final pro the best, which is going to be its tap fire ability, and that's whether you're doing that in full auto, simply tap firing, or putting it into semi-auto mode. The tap firing is therefore very good, very responsive in terms of the hit registration because of that increased bullet velocity, and simply because when tap firing, you're pretty much eliminating that bloom effect. Okay, so now that we know what the main pros and cons are of this gun, how am I playing with it? So to be successful with the SCAR, as I'm going to call it, you need to stick at medium to long range, preferably medium range, because medium range still allows you to be somewhat accurate with full auto if you need it, but I'd suggest using tap fire or semi-auto mode whenever you possibly can. So therefore, pretty much sticking at medium range to most of the different areas where the enemies are going to be. For example, where I'm here, medium range to the center of that flag, where if I run onto that flag in the center, I'm not going to be able to take on a single person unless there's someone who's simply looking the complete opposite way, which is very unlikely because there's like 10 enemies in there. So that's pretty much it, really. Stick to medium range. That is the gun's main strength, and if you stick to that, you give yourself the best chance of winning as many gunfights as possible and staying alive as long as possible. And anybody with an SMG or a gun that is not as good at medium range or as a close range weapon, you're going to have the massive advantage over them of winning those gunfights. Now, for the final section of this video, as I said at the start, we're going to talk about what I'm doing on Manhattan Bridge in particular to do well, obviously to reach this 100 kill game, but also to help my team as much as possible. And as you can pretty much tell from 90% of the clips in this gameplay, it is going to be to stick around the center of the map where C flag is. This is going to be the main position on the map where there's always going to be a high flow of enemies, no matter whether your team holds the flag and you're simply defending it, or whether the enemies have got the flag and you're helping your teammates to capture it. I would definitely not recommend, if you have a slow fire rate, slow TTK weapon that's not good at close range, to be running in onto the flag and trying to capture it. The best way you're going to help your team is to stay on either of the 4 sides, of course depending on which sides your teammates are pushing from, as well as which side the enemies are pushing in from. Stay on one of the 4 sides, use a piece of cover, and monitor one of the 4 entrances, which you can pretty much see onto the flag and kill any enemies that you can see. And it's very hectic for the enemies who are on the flag because they've got 4 different directions with clear lines of sight onto the flag that they're trying to pretty much hide, capture the flag, and protect themselves from. So pretty much covering one of those entrances where you can see the majority of the flag is going to be the best way to 1, stay alive, 2, clear as many enemies off the flag as you can, which will then 3, help your teammates push in and capture it. You're not going to help your team that well if you do try to push in there with a gun like I'm using now and getting yourself killed straight away. Simply me having the 100 kills here because I'm doing what I just said and staying and monitoring one of the entrances, or simply rotating around the center of this flag and monitoring each of the different entrances. I'm allowing the flag to stay as clear as possible for my teammates to overpower whatever enemies are left on there, and as I said again, to capture it. Lastly, in terms of other final quick tips, where I am standing now, and as you can see the flags, we have B flag. I would definitely not recommend to be standing anywhere around monitoring this entrance if the enemies have got B flag, because that high ground all the way up on top of the buildings, you will get seen instantly. There's always people up there, sat there watching down towards C flag, and you will get shot straight away. If B flag is held like it is here, do not hold and watch that entrance. You either go to a different entrance or you go up to B flag and clear it out yourself. So we have 1 minute left of this video, and that pretty much wraps up my commentary of it. If you have enjoyed or found anything useful, please do smash a like. If you're new around here, then do consider subscribing. I'm going to try and tick off as many different guns in Battlefield 6 for 100 kill games as possible and do a short 10-minute analysis video like this. And there's always going to be a full gameplay of these, either on a live stream or I'll upload them to a separate playlist, link them below, so you can have that to watch as well if you do want to see the full gameplay. But otherwise, thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.